years. Most of you have met my husband, Pat. Between the two of us, we have 5 kids. His oldest is Jenny, she's 20. And then we have a 13, a 12, an 11, and a 10-year-old. So, mainly what I do is I get to work at 7:30 and work till 4:30. You can reach me during those hours, and then I go do my second non-paying job as a mom. So, Bob, on the other hand, rolled in about 9. He stayed till about 6.
But I stay later.
So, I attended FSU. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree. I started my career in 1987 when I was 10. And I've been working since that point in time. So Bob and I started working together in 1996. So on that note, I'll let him talk a few minutes about himself.
Bob LaPlant, as you mentioned earlier, I've been working in the Tampa Bay area for over 20 years. Our firm's been around for over 20 years. Originally, I'm from Massachusetts, so it's kind of like the north and the south get together here. I went to graduate of Bryan College out of Smithfield, Rhode Island, if anybody knows where that little school is.
I do.
Sure do.
Yeah, it's about the size of the University of Tampa. I've been practicing a long time. Not only am I a CPA, I'm also a certified financial planner. Likewise, Marj is also a certified fraud examiner. So we kind of cover a wide area. Our firm has been around a while. We do provide a lot of different types of service, from traditional accounting, tax, consulting work, to some of the other stuff which is non-traditional. We've worked in divorce cases. We've worked in forensic accounting matters. Her and I have both been involved in a couple of frauds that didn't turn out quite so well for the people that perpetrated the fraud. But that happens. You know? Unfortunately, as you mentioned earlier, fraud's a real problem. A real problem in a lot of different areas. Back to you.
Let's see, what year is this?
2012.
Okay, 2009. That when we, okay, 2009, the name of the firm went from LaPlant to LaPlant Rainey. So we have our 2 working partners, and then most of you, at some point or another, have talked to Carrie, who is our receptionist, bookkeeper on the telephone. So the 3 of us do everything. So one of the reasons I brought Bob today is if you call my office and can't get a hold of me, feel free to talk to Bob, because we interchange with each other, we help each other out. Okay. Brochure you have. Okay. Ray Avery designed this, so you can see an example of his work, and Jason Johnson printed it. So, using the services of our fellow BNI members. Okay. On the front, you will see a list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 services. Most familiar with you, to you, would be the taxation services. That's what I harp on all the time here. We do individual corporate returns, partnership returns, gift and estate returns. We cover all those. What I wanted to do was talk about the other items that you may not be familiar with, so that you have a better chance to eliminate. Okay. Attestation services. That means that I'm going to attest to something, a fact. For example, when payroll service companies first came into existence, they had to file forms that someone had attested that they actually deposited their payroll taxes with the IRS. So I would sign that statement, because that would be a very simple procedure for me to say, show me your deposit slip that it got put in the bank, and I would write the statement and sign it. So as far as the attestation service, I'm just signing my name that something has actually happened that's a fact that can't be disputed. Accounting services, that's where Carrie comes into play. When I tell you someone needs to get their financial receipts and disbursements into a program like QuickBooks, Peachtree, something other than a ledger sheet, or handing me a box of receipts or disbursements, that's where Carrie comes into play. That gives us a set of financial statements that will make it much cheaper for me to compare your tax return. I've told you this secret numerous times. The less paper you give me, the less expensive your tax return is going to be. So, you want to come to the next one?
In addition to attestation services and accounting service, has anybody been the personal representative or a trustee of a trust from the state?
Yes.
Have you ever had to provide accounting services?
Fortunately, not to any great extent.
Right.
Fortunately. Very fortunate.
Because we're involved in several trust accounting issues right now where we actually provide all the accounting work for anybody that's been a trustee of a trust, which is kind of unusual, a little bit different. Audit services, that's something Marj really focuses on, whether they be not-for-profit organizations. We do manufacturing companies, we audit construction companies, as well as some check processing facilities throughout the country. We have like 5 different sites that we have to go to. Our consulting services, that's kind of a little out of the box, depending on what it is. It can be cash flow analysis. I met a client one time sitting on a dive boat going out to the Gulf of Mexico. He had big, at 25 miles, you have a lot of time to talk to somebody. And as it turned out, he became a client at the end of that trip because he was having great sales, but he never had any cash in the bank. So we provided a cash flow analysis to find out what his problem was. His receivables collections were too slow, and he was paying his vendors too fast. So that's something he didn't realize until we studied that. We can provide internal control analysis for those of you that have, multiple issues. Sometimes within accounting systems, particularly in closely held businesses, there's a limited number of people that provide accounting services, or bookkeepers, or that trusted person. Typically that's the MO of somebody who meddles. Unfortunately, somebody's been with you 10, 15 years, and there's no segregation of duty. Sometimes that can be an issue. We also provide litigation support services, do some forensic accounting, merger and acquisition work. If you're interested in selling your business or buying a business, you probably want to talk to us. Give Marj a call because there's a lot of tax implications in that. It's either going to be an asset purchase, asset sale, or a stock purchase or stock sale. If you're looking for a business to buy, you certainly want to get an analysis of that. We also provide peer reviews for the state of Florida, where we actually have to go into other CPA firms, look at their accounting and auditing practice. That's something you may not be aware of, but we have to be reviewed by another CPA firm every 3 years. That's kind of a self-analysis. It's something the profession has done since 1990.
Also, under this consulting umbrella, which most of you have come to me about, is as far as I'm going to start a new company. What do I need to incorporate as? Do I need to be a corporation, a partnership, an S corporation? Other things as far as it's time for me to get a new vehicle. Should I buy or should I lease? There's a lot of different things that come under this consulting umbrella. Okay. Corporate referrals for us. Like Bob said, closely held businesses. Your closely held businesses have 1 or 2 owners. We like to get in on the ground floor, do the corporate work, do the owner's 1040 work, help them with succession planning, like Bob said, cash flow analysis, just be their advisor for them. Some other industries, like I talked about today, the churches. You'll be amazed at some of the problems that churches have, and they need to have someone come in with a fresh set of eyes and review payment. Anyone that needs an audit for banking or loan purposes, what other industries?
Architects, engineers, advertising agencies, we deal with quite a few.
Doctors, dentists, any type of personal service corporation. So keep us in mind for those types of work. Okay, there's 1 minute left. Anyone have any kind of tax questions they want to put out there? I'm operating on 1 Q&A today, so I'm going to let Bob answer questions.
There's been a reduction in the payroll tax in the next 2 months. Everybody's probably aware of that. It's been in the news quite a bit. So for the next 2 months, your employees only have to pay 2% less in Social Security.
Woohoo!
After April 15th, took on your IRAs for 2011. So, yes.
As business owners, are we going to have all those surcharges hit us again this year like we did last year for the payroll taxes or whatever they were for? The state of Florida sent out those special assessments.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. That's because the unemployment fund went broke and they had to borrow from the government, so therefore the government was charging them interest, and they were trying to pass it along to all the business people.
There was a comment made that the S corps were going to be disallowed in the future. Have you heard any more about that? And
what they were trying to do, because a lot of people with S corporations.
You
can answer.
Okay.
I want to know.
A lot of people with S corporations don't pay sufficient payroll tax to themselves as stockholders. So what they do is they kick out a distribution. What Congress was trying to do is make that distribution subject to self-employment tax. But that's not passed.
Yeah, that is not passed.
So, but you need to pay yourself, as S corp owners, a reasonable compensation based on your profession. And the term reasonable